Happy Joyful July, everybody. My name is Dr. Leah Taylor, and I am super passionate about teaching people how to use live music as medicine, re-educating people on why live music is medicine, and also coming here for you every month to give you a how-to or a fun Nia dance class or whatever it is that happens to fit with the theme of the month. So this month's theme is Joyful July, and I have a how-to for you about why joy can be so fleeting and how to sustain it for good. So we're going to talk a little bit about why joy may be so difficult to experience in our everyday lives and how we can work to help change that, because with awareness, then we have choice. So I'm going to educate you guys a little bit on the whole mind-body connection and that thing, and also to give you an experiential to help increase the joy that you feel out in your lives. So yay! So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the negativity bias, and this is something that you may have heard of before. It is something that we have going against us as far as feeling joy or any other renewing emotion that will help to lift us up. And the reason is, so we are wired to scan the environment for the negative. And that served us very well as young cavemen and women back in our very young human evolutionary time. And that hasn't gone away. So our environment has evolved a lot quicker than we have evolved as humans. So back in our cavemen and women times, if the men were out hunting and they heard a rustling in the bush and there was a tiger behind that bush that was lurking behind there to get them, they needed to be able to scan the environment, to have their hearing kind of perk up, their eyes dilate, all of the blood rush to their major muscle systems so that they can either get the hell out of there or get ready to put up a fight or whatever they're going to do to help themselves survive from this lion. That is much more important at that time than taking notice of all the beautiful flowers that are around them, looking at the colors and noticing the scents and how they make them feel. Like if they're engaged more in the flowers while that tiger is coming up behind them, they're going to get killed, they're going to get eaten, and no more human. So it was important for our species to be able to survive, to have this mechanism built in that we are just wired to scan the environment and take in more negative than take in the positive, which was a great thing for us to be able to survive. The problem is now that there aren't so many tigers lurking in those bushes. However, there are a lot of perceived tigers that we have up here in our mind. Those, of course, can take on the form of somebody cutting you off in line or somebody saying something about you that you just can't let go of, or, you name it. All of the things that we stress about, the lack of money that we have, how we're going to pay our bills, why didn't we do that? Why did we do that? All of that stuff that gets us tripped up in thinking about what is wrong with us, what is wrong with the world, and all things negative, which really keep us from feeling the joy that I know that we desire to feel. So that is one thing that's holding us back, the negativity bias, and it is just ingrained in us as human beings, and we actually have to work even harder to be able to take in the good and to let go of whatever it is that we think is lurking behind those bushes. So it's a practice, and the first step in that practice is to become aware of it. So to notice that that's just the way that we're wired, and then to be able to say, okay, I'm going to make a conscious decision to let go of those tigers and to really focus on those beautiful flowers, because I don't want to just survive, I actually want to thrive. And that's an important decision to be able to make. The other reason that joy is sometimes so difficult to take in, especially even as we begin to say, okay, all right, Leah, I hear you what you're saying, and I am committed to taking in the good. I'm going to let go of those perceived tigers. So here's the other downfall that we have. Our bodies get used to certain emotional states. And as much as it would make sense for our bodies to naturally want to point towards things that bring in a sense of ease or bring in a sense of flow and renewal and joy and all of those positive, renewing emotional experiences, actually our body likes what it knows and what it's comfortable with, even if that is sadness and despair and stress and loneliness, all of those things that can really bring us down. Our body gets used to going about its thing in that state, right? So even though it might not be the ultimate state that will help it work most efficiently, and it certainly isn't if it's in a constant state of stress or despair or loneliness or grief and all of that things, there's many things that are working against the body in that state. But the body, it doesn't care about that. It's just like, okay, I know how to do things in this way. I'm going to keep doing things in this way. And when we begin to try and shift that way, the body will say, what are you doing? Like, we've been doing this for so long. This is our natural way of doing things. Why are you trying to create stress in the system? So it kind of, it like will put up some barriers and some challenges with shifting that state. The good thing is, with our commitment to change, and by commitment, I don't just mean thinking about it, I mean actually feeling it, because we cannot think our way into a new state of being. We actually have to feel it, and that is a very important thing to remember. So I'm going to say that one more time. We cannot think our way into a new state of being. We actually have to feel it, to experience it. And with little experiences, whatever the emotional state that you want to retrain your body to become its new baseline. So say that's joy, because it's our topic for this month. If your new desired state of being is a joyful state where that's the baseline, and that absolutely does not mean that you don't feel any other emotions, that you don't experience stress, that you don't experience hardship, because we are human beings living in this life. Of course, we're going to experience all those things. What that means is that our baseline is joy, that 9 times out of 10, when we wake up in the morning, we are feeling a magnitude of joyful. That doesn't mean that like when we wake up our heart is bursting and we feel like we do when Trey goes into an amazing solo and our heart is bursting into a million billion pieces. No, it doesn't mean that, but maybe we wake up with a sense of gratitude, which I would associate with a sense of joy, with happiness, with contentment, right? That really is joy on the kind of more calmer side. So by shifting your baseline, that's what that means. That means that 9 times out of 10, you are feeling contentment, you are feeling happiness, you are feeling joy. And then when those other things happen to you, because we're going to experience loss in our life, we're going to experience disappointment, we're going to experience regret. When those feelings happen, they're going to be there. You're going to be able to feel them. You're going to be able to acknowledge them, and then they're going to dissipate. And you know what? You're going to come right back to your baseline, which is joy. So, but that only happens by experiencing that joy. So here I am talking to a bunch of live music fans, which is really awesome because I know that you have had the experience of joy. It may not be the constant in your life, which makes a lot of sense. I know it wasn't the constant in my life before I started really putting energy and effort into changing my emotional baseline, but I know that you have experienced it, and that is a really important thing. So it takes taking those experiences of joy and really being present with them. So it takes 20 seconds to encode a positive emotional experience and about a millisecond to encode a negative emotional experience. 20 seconds may not seem like a long time, but actually it really is. So we're going to practice that right now. I want you to close your eyes if that's helpful and just think of something that makes you feel joy. Maybe it was the last live music show that you went to. Maybe it was holding your child. Maybe it was being with your partner, watching a beautiful sunset. See if you can pull up that experience right now, something that makes your heart sing and fill. Okay, so now you have it. We're gonna hold this until I tell you to stop. So imagining it. Breathing it in. Noticing the sensations that are arising in your body. One more breath in and out. So that was approximately 20 seconds. It's not very often that most of us spend that much time with a joyful experience. The good thing is, though, that when we go to those shows, when Trey or whoever the musician is that's playing, that is making your heart burst into a million billion pieces, the thing with live music is that it is a multi-sensory experience, which is what you need to engage when you are encoding a positive experience. So you need to notice what it feels like in your body. What are the sensations that you're experiencing? What are the emotions that you're experiencing? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like on your skin? What does the air feel like? All of that needs to happen in those 20 seconds for you to really be able to take it in to your body and being so that it can continue with you, right? Because otherwise it just goes right past us and we don't really take it in. And we're going to take in the person that was talking beside us at the concert, or we're going to take in the person who stole our spot when we went to the bathroom, or whatever it is that seems to annoy us. All of those things we're going to take in, and we're going to totally miss out on the medicine that is live music. So engage all of your senses. Remember to be fully present while you are feeling those joyful emotions so that you can begin to shift your emotional baseline into more of a state of joy or contentment or gratitude or happiness or whatever it is along that continuum that you would like to feel on a day-to-day basis. Let's see. I think that is pretty much all I wanted to say about that. I will also just mention that, and this has been shown in live music research, but I know that we actually all know this, and that is when we have a transcendent live music experience or any kind of transcendent experience that really opens our heart and makes it burst into a million billion pieces and shows us that other things are possible outside of this day-to-day daily bump and grind that so many people are feeling like they are trapped inside. We have the experience that there's another possibility, right? That something else is possible, and which is a great thing. And I know that we have all experienced it, but sometimes, so that can work for us and that can also work against us. The way that that can work for us is that we know that it's possible, right? So when we go back to that daily bump and grind, two things happen. One is we remember that there's another possibility, and that actually is like a light of hope, a ray of hope that allows us to remain connected to that possibility and knowing how to get back there, namely live music for us. So we know how to get back there, but of course we also know that it is not just connected with live music, that we can also find that same contentment and joy and gratitude in our everyday lives. And that's what Tara Lee is so great about teaching all of us. We can find it in the sunset. We can find it in that yoga pose. We can find it in our adoringly looking at our partner. We can find it in friends. We can find it so many other places. And it's a really important thing to be able to be reminded of that. The way that it works against us is that sometimes it's such a stark contrast as to where we were to what we come into in that daily bump and grind that sometimes it is really depressing to people. And I would bet that we've probably all experienced that before too. In that, I just want to remind you to shift your perspective back to that hope, right? And into, okay, how can I take whatever experience that I just came from and bring some of that into my daily life? And not only do that for yourself, but to connect with others that are also committed to doing that as well, because that is how we continue that. We're supported by like-minded others, and that's what we're doing here in the online Rocking Life community, or Rocking Life online community. So I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I feel such a sense of joy connecting with you, and I can't wait to see you out there in person. I'm going to be at Dick's in September. So let me know if you guys are going to be there. I'd love to meet you in person, and have a great rest of your July, which is really only a couple of days. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye.